So this is another vlog, as Rouge would say on Femferocity. Let's get real for a minute, let's get real. Can you believe it's been 12 months really since this video here? God, how different was I back then? I mean, like, just visually, just in a different mental space. I feel like I've definitely grown over the last 12 months. This past 12 months has definitely been something of a challenge, I would say, in terms of my coming to terms with my security in my appearance and just how I am and how I wish to be and everything like that. So, I think one of the things why I'm making this video today is that I would like to discuss with you all some of the things that I think I have sort of taken on board and trying to follow for developing a thicker skin. Now, these things I have definitely I have benefited so much from being a part of the online androgynous community. I think talking to some of the other people out there who you know, express themselves in their various forms and in a similar manner to myself, I think that connection has really helped me become more secure in terms of knowing that I'm not alone and I'm not like this wild, crazy freak out in this, you know, out in the sticks here, you know, in Australia. So, you know, I mean, some of the examples are obviously all the beautiful creatures over on Femferocity and just getting to know them, you know, speaking with even some of the members of Androgenetics, John Laidlaw, Kerrod Alexander, you know, just so many wonderful people. You know, it's just really has helped me become more confident and more secure in my position, like I said. Anyway, so some of my tips, I think the very first one, speaking of, it's confidence. You have to be completely confident, no matter how controversial it is. If you really, I don't know, even if it's on, you know, your political views or it's whatever, I mean, as long as they are well thought out and you are completely sure of them yourself, then that is the basis of being secure and having a good thick skin and a good, you know, coat of armor against anyone who would want to put you down. So I think that's the very first step. So once we get sort of past that step, like I said, not that I am past that step personally, but I think that another good tip is to realise that there are more important things out there than the trivial comments that people come at you. I mean, I get just some most ridiculous things. I mean, once you get past that stage, you've got to realise that yes, there are more important things in life than these little trivial things, you know. You've got to realise that, you know, the radio noise, all that bollocks, all that crap of personal subjective attacks, whether it be about your sexuality, about your gender, about, you know, about your appearance, about what you believe in, these things, I mean, you've got to realise that the radio noise of subjective attacks of saying, and when I say subjective attacks, I mean the people who say that you are personally wrong for believing in X, or looking like X, or being X, that's just noise. You're above that. You're above that. You're not. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm above the people who believe those things and wish to express those things and put those things down upon me, but I am above their comments. I think that's definitely something that I have come to terms with in terms of being able to say that there's a point where you can you know, rise above it. You're not trying to say that you're better than people, but you're better than that bullshit that they're spouting. You know, that's the personal subjective attacks. Why am I saying personal subjective attacks? Because I believe that there are, you know, there's the subjective attack and then there's the attack against the idea. If someone's questioning your religion, they're questioning, I don't know, why you wear the colour blue, what the fuck ever, you know, and they have a true strong argument against it, you know, like I don't know, whatever, you know. For example, I question Christianity, I question the idea, I question the institution, I question the belief, but I don't question people's right to believe. If I was to walk up to you as say hypothetically, if you are a Christian, and I said you are wrong for being a Christian, then that is where I step down, right down into that, you know, the bollocks level, right into the radio stream. So, you know, but if I was to say, I do not agree with Christianity because of X, X, Y, and X, then there's something to discuss. But personal issues themselves are just irrelevant and down here. You got to be up here. Being who I am and being where I live and operating in the society that I operate in, I think that one of the hardest things for me is developing a shield, developing that skin, that coat of armor, and the maintenance, the daily maintenance of that armor is something that can be very taxing on a person. So I would suggest, I am always feeling more on point and more on my game when I've got a good night's sleep. As trivial as that may sound, when you're well rested, you can easily center yourself, and you need to be able to center yourself. You need to be able to step back. You need to be able to disengage from the bollocks and you know, whatever, and look back and like sit back and go, okay, here I am, and just draw yourself in and just remember who you are and remember what's important. Some of the tips I would suggest to bring yourself back in and remove yourself from the bollocks is music. I could, you know, talking to, you know, loved ones and people who, you know, or just going for a walk and physically removing yourself from that scene. I think you need to be able to surround yourself with positive energy. And I know that's much easier said than done, but I mean, I'm talking friends, I'm talking music, yeah, you know, all these things will help strengthen your shield and, you know, make your armor thicker. You've got to remember that, yes, while there is a lot of negativity, there's also a lot of positivity. And while there may be that one person who's willing to put you down, there are so many other people who are willing to back you up. And you'll find that the people who are not able to express themselves freely are the ones who want to put everyone else down because they don't feel comfortable being themselves. If you're comfortable being yourself, then that's all that matters. Just remember this, keep yourself in that zone. And I know it sounds preachy, but I mean, these are some of the tips I really like. Personally, these aren't things that I always go by because, like I said, I have bad days. You know, I have days where all I want to do is just not be stared at, not be gawked at, not, you know, have fucking comments yelled out or shit thrown at you or whatever it may be, you know. So I definitely have bad days, but I think you need to be able to center yourself and you need to be able to remember what's important, and all that bollocks is not important. As an extension of that, I think that there is another level as well, because one of the biggest things one of my biggest fears, I guess you could say, when it comes to being who I am, is the threat of personal physical attacks. Because, you know, you can brush off a comment, you can brush off someone saying faggot, you can brush off someone, you know, saying what the fuck ever, but when the threat of violence comes into play, then that's something that I think you need to abide by these same rules, but don't be stupid. You know, I mean, I wouldn't go down to the local train station in a thong and heels, you know, because I know I'd be putting myself in a dangerous situation. So you've really got to find that fine balance when it comes to violence, of not being stupid while not compromising yourself, you know, and just know when to be strong and when to ignore physical attacks. Because if every single person who threatened violence against you altered who you were, you'd become nothing. You become a pulp of nothing, and you don't want that. But at the same time, you wouldn't want to, you know, you wouldn't want to throw yourself into the shark's mouth. So just be aware the shark's out there, but don't put yourself in front of it, you know what I mean? And I know that's always easier said than done. It's always easier said than done. There are always situations where someone will want to bash you up for being, you know, who you are, or like any of the examples I've you know, recently cited. But you've got to learn to not let that fear control you. Don't let that emotional fear, and don't let that physical threat of violence and the fear of that, don't let that control you. You know, you can't let that control you, because ultimately it will consume you and you will be the most unhappy person alive. And that's what most people out there are, unhappy. And they're unhappy because they're consumed by fear. Don't be consumed by fear. Remember who you are, because that's the only way you're going to get through in this world. That's me being real for the moment. So, you know, let me know your experiences. You know, you know, I mean, I myself, I have, you know, I get daily, you know, verbal and emotional attacks, but, you know, I've also been bashed up. I've also, you know, you find, it's, you know, everyone goes through these horrible experiences, to different degrees, depending on your society and depending on who you wish to be, and who, not even wish to be, just who you are in society, you know. It's a fucked up world, what can I say? So let me know your experiences, you know, let's connect, and let's, you know, tell me what you think about this, because it would be really nice to know that there are other people out there who have these fears, and I know there are. But sometimes it can feel like you're the only one on the planet who is going through this, but you're not. And I hope this video helped you realise that. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go. So I guess I will talk to you all very soon. Bye guys. Just remember who you are and remember what's important, and there's the fire alarm. Okay, what? Okay, I don't think there's a fire.